let's try and make it through yet another video without lipstick on my teeth.
Alright guys, hi, I am back. I took a little bit of a hiatus for several reasons.
I was lacking motivation, but also because I've been in a very, very difficult run of depression, and some serious issues with my anxiety have been popping up. I wanted to make vlogs about what it's like living with OCD and depression, but I've been spending most of the time that I haven't been at work in my bed, watching copious amounts of The Vampire Diaries, and I'm all caught up, and it's a wonderful thing. I mean, on the bright side, there's always a silver lining, right?
So anyway, today I'm coming at you guys with a video about OCD, just because, if you didn't know, 2015, October 11th through the 17th, I believe, is OCD Awareness Week. So I kind of wanted to make a couple videos. I'll probably, hopefully get more than one done about the topic of OCD, and it's, you know, the whole kind of awareness thing being that, like, I'll tell you guys a little bit about what OCD is, about what someone that suffers with OCD goes through. So if you haven't watched some of my other videos, these are kind of more gonna be general versus my very me specific OCD videos. Okay, so these are going to be videos hopefully that you can share with people that, you know, might not know anything about OCD, or if you're just watching and you don't know anything about OCD, hopefully you can learn something. Alright guys, so like I said, I wanted to make a couple videos, and this first one that I want to make is pretty much the most obvious one. What is OCD? So a lot of people have this kind of conception of what OCD is, and if you aren't a sufferer, or you are not very close to someone who suffers, who is very open about what they're going through, chances are you might have kind of a wrong idea of what OCD is. I know that I did before the onset of my OCD. I had a very specific idea of what it was, and I was totally wrong. So I thought I would go through some of the kind of symptoms and the different parts of the disease and all that stuff, just so we can have kind of a ground put down for anything that you guys might want to ask, or anything that we can kind of come up to make more videos about. So let's just get started. So what is OCD? Obsessive compulsive disorder. That's what we're talking about. That's what OCD is, in case you didn't know. So like the name implies, it has two parts. There's obsessions and then there's compulsions. So obsessions are kind of like the, you know, unwanted thoughts, or kind of feelings or impulses, or, you know, images in your head that they're kind of, you feel like they're not coming from you. So they could be something that is very out of character for you. So for me, if you haven't watched any of my other videos, my particular problem with OCD is harm. So I would have images of me inflicting harm on people, although I've never been a violent person, and that thought was very scary to me. So that can happen with all sorts of different types of OCD. So you can have issues with cleanliness, but it's not usually how people think of it, where like, oh, I need things to be this way, I need everything to be perfect. That's not necessarily the reason. There are definitely people who have obsessive tendencies where they like to clean things, or they like to do it, whatever, but the thing is, they like to do it. A lot of times people with OCD don't like to do the things that they feel they have to do. So the obsession is the thing that kind of sparks the anxiety. It can be something like I was saying with contamination, where
Wait, what if I didn't clean, you know, this thing the proper way? Or what if when I was cooking dinner, you know, before I did that, I touched the dirty, like, doorknob, or I touched, you know, the flusher on the toilet?
That's kind of where it starts. You're like, what if I did that, and what if by me doing that I get someone sick while I'm cooking them dinner? So you see, there's this motif of what if through every issue that we have with OCD. That's why it's the what if disease, because everything is a what if. What if I did something? What if this happens to someone I love? What if this XYZ happens, and, you know, it's my fault, kind of a thing. Okay, so that's the obsession part. So we have the obsessions, and then there's part two, we have the compulsions. Compulsions are kind of this, almost like this paradox, and like they start to help you get feel less anxiety, but they hurt you in the long run. Okay, so something that could be a compulsion, people see a lot of times people with OCD washing their hands. So people think, oh, well, they just want to be clean, they're just a nut, they just like this, the other thing. No, that comes from the person that I said before that worries that they touched the, the dirty doorknob or the toilet and is going to get someone sick and kill someone or poison them by accident. So that's someone washing their hands, 20 to 100 times a day until their skin is literally raw and bleeding because they don't feel clean enough. They can't be sure. They say, what if that's still dirty? What if I, am still not clean enough? And sometimes you'll just do it until it feels right. So there's not a set amount of times, whereas anyone that doesn't have OCD, they say, oh, I touched something dirty, I should probably wash my hands once before I do this. And you could just wash it. A lot of people don't even thoroughly wash their hands. They'll just be like, okay, whatever, it's fine. But someone with OCD has a very particular way that they have to go about doing things, okay? So the thing is, these compulsions, like I said, they help you in the beginning because they kind of reduce that anxiety. You don't feel it quite as much. You say, okay, well now I feel like my hands are clean. But the thing is, it's like a drug. So each time you do it to get the same effect, you're gonna need more and more and more of it. So I've heard stories of people that, would take showers compulsively, and then they would spend hours a day showering multiple times in a certain order so that they could feel clean. People get stuck in this rut, this kind of continuing cycle where they can't break out of it. So there's different kinds of compulsions though. So we have the hand washing like we typically see, and that's what you see on TV or whatever. But there's so much more than that. It's so incredible the kind of compulsions that people will come up with. And the thing is, we know that it's ridiculous. We know that there's something wrong, but it's so hard to stop it. There are some compulsions that aren't even necessarily physical things that we do. They can be mental, so they're kind of a lot harder to classify. Some people think, well, I don't have OCD because I don't clean things, I don't wash my hands, I don't avoid stepping on cracks on the road. That doesn't mean that you don't have OCD. If you think that you have OCD and you think that you have some kinds of compulsions, you should probably look more into it because there could be something there. So there are a lot of compulsions that we can't see. So for me, for example, if I would have a thought that, like an aggressive thought, like what if I hurt someone? Well, I could do this, I could hurt somebody this way. I'll be like,
well, okay, well now I have to go back and review my life and make sure there's no way that I've hurt anyone in the past, and I can research and make sure that I don't fit any kind of, mold for like a sociopath or something.
And the thing is, on a bad day, I can spend 10 to 12 hours ruminating, that's what they call that, ruminating about my past, about my intentions, about,
I thought this, what does this mean? And, but I've never been a violent person, but does that mean that now at 25 years old I could suddenly turn into sociopath or something? Does it happen that way?
No, I know that it doesn't happen that way. You don't just wake up one day and decide, you know what, I'm gonna be a horrible person. It doesn't work like that. And the thing with OCD is many people that have it are very gentle people. We're people that are creative. That's why we're able to come up with these awful scenarios in our head. And we're people that are very gentle and very kind and loving people. And that's why it hurts us so much to think, what if I hurt my family? What if I hurt my pet? What if I go outside and I see a police officer and I try and take his gun to hurt somebody? They're so painful, these thoughts. And lots of times you don't even want to get out of bed in the morning because you think, what? I should probably just lay here and starve to death because there's no way that I should be allowed in public. That's, really sad because a lot of us waste away and we just kind of ruin our lives, because of something as awful as this. And it's something that we're all continuing to work on, and it's an ongoing process to try and get better. So those are some of the obsessions, compulsions, and whatever. I know it was a very long, rambly video, but I wanted to kind of talk a little bit about what OCD is, and hopefully you guys have learned something. I'm gonna try and make some more videos. So yeah. Thanks guys, and happy OCD Awareness Week for those of you who are suffering with me. Alright, bye guys, I'll see you later.